When a startup decides to bet its entire future on an influencer, what's the actual secret sauce? Is it how much they know, how relatable they are, or is it something else entirely, something we're not even thinking about? Well, we're about to find out, and the answer, it might just change how you see the world of online influence. Let's get into it. Okay, let's start with a pretty tough reality check. Over 60% of new businesses fail within their first 5 years. That's more than half. In that kind of brutal environment, you can see why founders are looking for any edge they can get, that one thing that'll help them survive. And for a lot of them, that edge seems to be influencer marketing. I mean, the formula makes sense, right? You've got a new brand with zero audience, and you partner with someone who has a built-in loyal following. But what really makes that work? What's the magic that turns a casual scroll into an actual purchase? So to figure that out, a 2026 study out of Jordan decided to really challenge what we think we know about influencer marketing. Researchers wanted to pinpoint the exact traits that actually make us click that buy button when we see a product from a new company. And they were smart about it. They didn't get distracted by things like follower counts. Instead, they zoomed in on 3 specific qualities to see which one really held the most sway over us, the potential customers. Let's break down what they looked at. First up, we've got content authenticity. You can think of this as the realness factor. Do you actually believe what they're saying is their honest opinion? Or does it kind of feel like they're just reading a script from a sponsor? It's all about trust. Next, we have expertise. Now, this is the one most of us would probably put our money on, right? It's the idea that the influencer is a legitimate authority. They've got the background, the experience, they really know their stuff. They're not just a personality, they are a pro. And finally, there's frequency and consistency. This one's all about being a familiar face. Does this person show up in your feed regularly? Is their message consistent? In a sea of endless content, they become a reliable, predictable presence in your digital life. All right, so we've got our 3 big contenders: authenticity, expertise, and consistency. The real one, the smart one, or the reliable one. Before I show you what the study found, just think for a second. Which one do you think matters most when you're thinking about buying something? The researchers gathered all the data, crunched the numbers, and the results? Well, they were definitely not what most people would have predicted. Let's take a look. So here it is, laid out plain and simple. The single most powerful factor? It was frequency and consistency. Yeah, just showing up regularly had the biggest impact on whether people would buy. Right behind that was content authenticity. Being genuine, definitely moderate. But then we get to the bottom, and this is the real shocker. Nope, that's not a typo. The influencer's expertise had 0 statistically significant impact on someone's decision to buy. All that knowledge, all those credentials, in this study, it just didn't move the needle. And that leads to a massive question. Why? I mean, this finding completely flies in the face of so much marketing advice. Why would expertise, something we're told to value so much, be a non-factor here? Well, the researchers had a pretty fascinating idea about what was going on. And the answer they landed on was culture. They basically said, hey, the reason our results look so weird compared to other studies might be because who we trust isn't universal. It could seriously depend on where in the world you are. And look at this. It really drives the point home. This study in Jordan found expertise didn't matter. But guess what? Similar studies in the US and Morocco found the exact opposite. In those places, expertise was a huge driver of purchase intent. It's a powerful reminder that there is no one-size-fits-all formula for marketing. So for this specific audience, the takeaway is crystal clear. The people surveyed in Jordan were way more persuaded by a familiar, authentic voice than by someone with a fancy resume. In this case, reliability and relatability absolutely beat credentials. So what does this all mean for anyone trying to build a brand or market a product online? It means we have to stop thinking globally and start thinking locally. It suggests a whole new playbook is in order. So what does this new playbook look like? Well, first, prioritize consistency. Find creators who are a regular part of their audience's day. Second, go for the authentic voice. Partner with people who have genuinely earned the trust of their community. And third, maybe it's time to rethink what an expert really is online, because the most qualified person on paper might not actually be the best person to tell your story. And hey, we just want to give a quick shout out to this source here. All of this comes from a paper published in the International Journal of Data and Network Science. And it's distributed under a Creative Commons license, which is awesome because it means we can share these cool findings with you. This whole thing leaves us with a really big question to chew on. In a world that feels so connected, does your physical location still change who you trust online? Well, according to this research, the answer is a huge yes. It seems that trust, at the end of the day, isn't a universal language. Sometimes it really does speak with a local accent.